Okay, well, welcome everyone. We're in the Apply Hub today, and we're looking at nursing from the hospital to the Airfield. And today, Stephanie Roberts to look at a brief career at her 19 history in the Princess Mary's Royal Air Force's nursing service, offering insight into the professional development and opportunities available from those passionate about healthcare whilst also seeking adventure.
Good afternoon, everyone. Apologies for the delay. My name's Steph, as a very kind introduction there from Makina. I'm a flight sergeant in the Princess Mary's Royal Air Force Nursing Service, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my job, basically, that I've been doing now for the past 19 years. And in all honesty, I don't think I would change it for the world. So I hope to be able to inspire anyone who might want to join the military, and certainly join the RAF and do something different with your nursing career, perhaps. So what am I going to cover today? So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Princess Mary's Royal Air Force Nursing Service, have a little chat about what training and opportunities are available with that, postings, where you may end up going in the world, further education that can be available, operations and deployments, and of course extracurricular activities. It's not all work and no play, and then most importantly, where and how to apply. So the Princess Mary's Royal Air Force Nursing Service, or the PMs for short, started as a temporary service back in 1918. It was only a temporary measure just to help through the war effort and to help people get better, basically, from the military. And then in 1921, it became a permanent affair, and the Princess Mary's Royal Air Force Nursing Service was born. And so this year we've celebrated 100 years of our service and our cadre. As you can see, there's some of my colleagues. But what do we do? Especially most of you probably know, we don't have any military hospitals anymore, especially now that the last one, the Royal Hospital Haslar, closed back in 2009. So what do we do, and how do we maintain our nursing? I'm just going to show you a little video. Hopefully this will work.
For me, or anyone who joins the Royal Air Force, you join as a full-time service. You still work in an NHS hospital because we recognise that they're pioneering in medical treatments and medical facilities. One of the things that were appealing to me when I joined the Air Force was the accommodation offer. So having the opportunity to leave university but not have to move home, because I was now going to work for an employer that would secure my accommodation, secure my dental and medical treatments, secure my gym membership, to come to an organisation which is essentially it's an extension of your family.
I can manage my own time to be able to be the mum I want to be, as well as still having a full-time serving career.
Not only are you getting paid, but you're also getting your education paid for. Best experiences have been the people out there and working in the area.
Being able to start a second career.
If we want to do some further training, then we are supposed to do that.
You've got flexible service, so if you come back from maternity leave, you can do reduced hours, or even if you haven't come back from maternity leave and you want to do flexible service, these things are now available to you. So we're getting into the 21st century as an employer. I didn't want to be overworked and underpaid. I wanted to feel valued by my employer. So if you're somebody that has got a lot of energy and wants to give and wants to do something completely different with your nursing, then certainly the Air Force is for you, because nursing is one thing, but when you take that nursing and you do it on the back of a helicopter, or you do it on the back of the C-17, in that environment where it's just this camaraderie and teamwork and you're all working towards the same goal, it's priceless.
See if I can get back to you. So I look. Oh my goodness. Apologies for my poor tech abilities here. It's it's not ideal. Let's just go back to this, shall we? Right. So I'm hoping that you managed to see that video okay. Let's just stop sharing the screen for a moment. There you go. I hope that you all managed to, did you see the video okay? I'll go back to sharing my screen then. Right then, so that was just a little bit about the Princess Mary's and what we do. So where did it all begin for me? So going back, as I said, 19 years ago, 3rd of July 2002, I boarded a train at Newark. This train journey, well, it was the start of my new adventure. I've always wanted to join the military. I'm a daughter of an RAF chef, and I travelled the world with my family, and I just thought, this is the life for me. This is what I really want to do. Nursing was always something I had an interest in, but actually the adventure and the life of the RAF was what I was mostly searching out. And to say, I don't think I've been disappointed so far. So I arrived at the gates of RAF Holton at Wendover, ready to start my 7 weeks of basic training. Back in 2002, it was only 7 weeks, which some people will probably say we got off a bit lightly. Now, if you were to join up, it's 10 weeks basic training at RAF Holton still. But then if you want to commission and become an officer, then it's 24 weeks at RAF Cranwell, which is Lincolnshire. But it wasn't just I go to the careers office and sign the papers. There was a couple of interviews and specialist interviews that I needed to get through to be able to enable me to join the RAF as a student nurse. What did I arrive at Wendover with? Well, I had some GCSEs, my suitcase, and a very positive attitude to succeed. So once passed out of basic training, I was lucky enough to be the second to last intake to go through the University of Portsmouth. There was 45 of us in total on the course, only 15 RAF student nurses, and the rest being Navy and Army. And for the next 3 years, we spent our lives together as a cohort, 0902. We lived at the lovely Fort Block House that you can see down there in the bottom corner, which was just in front of Royal Hospital Haslar. So there's quite a lot of military input and surroundings, and the old submarine base at Fort Block House there. And it was an interesting 3 years where the placements that I undertook took me all around the UK, so as far afield as Scotland. I went on a primary care placement, Plymouth, London. I worked in Putney for a few weeks as at the neurological hospital. There's so many opportunities to ensure that my nurse training provided all the right placements and opportunities to enable me to become a good nurse. And I passed out from University of Portsmouth with a diploma in nursing. You didn't need a full degree back then. As I said, I only arrived at Holton with some GCSEs. I didn't have any A-levels at the time. And throughout the 3 years that I spent at Portsmouth, I was paid, and I was paid as a member of the Royal Air Force, therefore a student on a substantial wage. So I'm always going to be grateful for that. It's something that the military offer, and if you can take advantage of it, then I would recommend doing it. Some of my colleagues enjoyed some placements further afield than Scotland. Some went to Cyprus, Gibraltar, and that was just to enable them as a student nurse to get through their course. So some real good opportunities that we were offered. Now, of course, all the student nurse training is undertaken up at Birmingham City University, which is in Birmingham. And Equally, there are equally good placement opportunities available. So if you want to join as a student nurse, then there's lots of opportunity there, most definitely. So life after nurse training, well, what happened then? So in 2005, once I'd qualified and I went out into the big wide world, there were so many things that I could have done and things that I could have to places where I could go. So the Royal Centre for Defence Medicine, which is up in Birmingham, that's the main hospital unit for the military. But there is others. So there's the Joint Hospital Groups, which is the South East, which is Frimley Park. We've got up in the north, North Allerton and James Cook Hospital, and in the south, which is Portsmouth, there's also the South Plymouth Derriford Hospital. But it's not just secondary care availability. There's rehabilitation units. So many of you might remember Headley Court, which is based down near London, and that used to be the rehabilitation centre. That's recently moved up to Stamford Hall in Nottinghamshire area, and again provides all the rehabilitation for serving members of forces. There's a real opportunity there to develop rehabilitation nurse skills if that's what you're interested in. And also, if you're not a nurse, thank you for joining, but for joining me today. But also there's opportunities there for medics and physiotherapists and doctors up there in Stamford Hall as well, if rehabilitation is an interest for you. But why did I join the Royal Air Force Nursing Service? Well, actually, I joined because I like to fly. I like aircraft. So, of course, there's the Tactical Medical Wing, which originally based down at RAF Lynham has since moved to the RAF Brize Norton. And that is the main hub for the operational nursing within the RAF. The squadron offers many opportunities for aeromedical duties, CCAST, MERT, training opportunities, and the deployable squadron as well. So those who may go out to help task with humanitarian missions or last-minute requests for medical aid. But what really floated my boat with regards to nursing? Well, I'm going to show you another little video. And it's not so much the cliche that I'm interested in, but the main nursing role that you'll see.
Fine lines and wrinkles. I want to combat the signs of aging.
Strong, healthy hair. What's my secret?
With my busy life, I don't have time to slow down.
I can't believe we turned up wearing the same thing.
I want a lip gloss that can stay on whatever life throws at me.
All-day protection, now with wings, so I can handle anything.
Women should be defined by actions, not cliches. Every role in the RAF is open to everyone, from spare time to the front line.
So I showed that video not so much about the female cliche, although within nursing we all know that primarily females are kind of the main sex within nursing. However, in the military, as I'm sure you can imagine, many roles are deemed male or masculine and feminine, but actually the RAF is a real equal opportunities employer, and now you can do anything that you want to as a male or a female, so which is great. But the role that I really was interested in was the helicopters and the flying, which I will talk about again shortly. So just rewinding slightly, so as I mentioned earlier, we got rid of, all the military hospitals closed in the 90s, and the Defence Medical Services required somewhere to enable their staff to maintain currency, gain skill sets, and they did that by opening up these joint hospital groups. mentioned. So the Defence Medical Services worked really closely with the NHS. The collaborative working has been evident over the past kind of 18 months with the OPRI script, with the military nurses, medics and military soldiers, infantrymen helping out within hospitals and within NHS pre-hospital trusts, so ambulance services, to enable and support during the global pandemic. So the role that we have within the NHS is essential for us, and it's also essential for them. You know, we help them, they help us. And I'm currently working as an emergency nurse in Portsmouth Hospital, Queen Alexandra Hospital, and the development opportunities and the role that I work as down there is equivalent to a band 6 or band 7 nurse in the emergency department. So not only am I maintaining my clinical skills within emergency nursing in their hospital, I'm also helping to support them from a managerial perspective and a clinical leadership perspective, which only benefits me and the service, and the NHS as well as a whole. There's lots of opportunities there to support each other, which the DMS does really well with the NHS. But I know I've talked a lot about nurses because that's what I am. But as you can see, I do some ambulance work as well. And I realise that there are some of yourselves on here who aren't nurses. So what does that mean for you? Well, if you're a paramedic, you would need to join the RAF as a medic, and then obviously register your paramedical qualifications. But there's a collaborative trust down at the London Ambulance Service, which we've got 7 RAF paramedics working and embedded with London Ambulance Service, which, as with the nurses, it helps to maintain skill sets and these opportunities to be full-time clinicians to ensure that they are fit for operational deployments and fit for the role within the military. So it's not just nurses. Again, AHPs, we've got biomedical scientists who work within the JHGs. We've got physiotherapists who not only work at Stamford Hall, they work regional medical centres, but also some are embedded within the NHS secondary care services as well. So there's lots of opportunities that the NHS offers to support. So once you've done your nurse training or your BMS training or anything else like that, what other opportunities does the RAF offer? Well, in 2009, I got, having done an operational deployment to Operation Herrick, which was Afghanistan, I undertook an the dog's barking. An aeromedical evacuation role. So I spent 4 months flying with the RAF to and from Afghanistan. And then I thought, well, actually, what do I want to do with my career? How do I want to move this forward? So in 2000,
I'm really sorry for interrupting, but from my side, I can only see that you're on the 3rd slide. I don't think they've moved as usual.
Oh. Well done. Oh my goodness.
Maybe you could screen share again. And you know when the tabs come up? So if you're using presenter slides for a presentation, you might have clicked the original one that just shows the presentation, but then not shared the tab actually presenting. So you could screen share again, but instead of like your slides, you can just scroll down like when you normally open up PowerPoint.
Oh, sorry. So let's have a look. What did you say?
So you know when you're about to screen share that you have all those tabs that come up, right?
Can you see that now?
I'll let you know once I can. Sometimes it takes a while for Hopping to show screen share.
Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry about this.
No, it's okay. It happens.
Oh, I think, oh gosh. Right. So that one.
I can't see this. Wait, no, it's coming up now.
There we go.
Okay, so yeah, I can see slides and NHS partnership now.
So can you see, is that moved?
Yeah, it's moved.
So if I now go like this, has that moved?
No, it hasn't moved.
Oh, that's a shame.
At least we found out where the issue was, and the rest of the presentation will be fine now. So.
Okay, so I'll leave it on this screen. You know, it's that's absolutely fine. I don't mind doing that. There we go. Let's make it as big as we can so you can see it. There we go. Is that okay like that?
Yes, it's good.
Perfect. Did you see this slide before?
No, but I can see it now. Life after nurse training, right?
Okay, so life after nurse, and I'm not going to talk about that because you did hear me talking about it or talking about the postings and the opportunities available and how I made my decisions. You saw the video. Did you see the video okay?
I think we missed it. I wrote in the chat that you could send the links to the videos later, so the participants can catch up afterwards.
Oh, okay. Let's see if I can show.
Okay.
I really like that video. So, right. Can you see that?
Fine lines and wrinkles.
No, but I can hear it.
At the signs of aging. Strong, healthy hair. What's my?
I'll put. Okay. I'll pop the links. I'll pop the links in the.
Hi. This is kind of like a last resort, but if you're able to quickly kind of send your PowerPoint, etc., over, we might be able to share it from our side, and that way we could potentially show the video if it works. That's another kind of way to solve the issue.
It's no bother at all. I can pop the links in the chat if people want to watch them. They are all available on the open net anyway, so that's no bother. Thank you.
Perfect.
Let's see if I can get this going again.
Have we managed to get through all of this? Oh my goodness. Right.
We talked about life after nurse training. So basically the video was of primarily at one of the MERT nurses, which inspired me for the future. I talked about the link between the Defence Medical Services and the NHS and how we all support each other with this collaborative working since the closure of the military hospitals. And then we started to talk about further education, what's available to us really. So actually, I'm not just going to be a band 5 nurse just plodding along all through a hospital. What can I get from the service? Well, as I said, back in 2009, I decided that emergency medicine or emergency nursing was the one for me. Having thought that I might fancy a bit of critical care, I realised after a placement in Peterborough actually that I much preferred to talk to my patients rather than those that were asleep. So critical care was like instantly crossed off the list for that one, and pretty much the same for operating theatre nurses. But I do understand that with everybody, it's good to have somebody who likes a bit of everything. So there's plenty of people who like to do that role. I'll just stick with emergency care for me. But look at all the opportunities. You can do emergency care, critical care, operating theatres, primary care. There's over 50 RAF stations throughout the UK and abroad. So the opportunities for primary care are out there as well. Rehabilitation, as I spoke about with Stamford Hall. We need medical and surgical specialists as well. You know, if you think about the roles that we undertake on operations with bombs, bullets and all the bad things in life, then actually you need surgical specialists who can look after these patients post injury. So being a surgical specialist is an option. And then burns and plastics, which is a really interesting one. It's fairly new in recent years, but again, burns is quite a significant injury that we can, or personnel in the military can fall foul of. So with burns and plastics, the opportunities include placements in London and East Grinstead at the specialist burns units, which is really interesting opportunities. And some of the partnerships that we have with, as was mentioned, Birmingham City University, University of Cumbria are really supportive of the military. And actually, it's the University of Cumbria that offer medics in the RAF the ability to do their paramedic degree, and using distance learning and the full degree programme. So that's really interesting and step forward for the medics. We use Brighton and also Bristol as well. But you're not just, we don't just kind of pigeonhole people down a specific specialist route. You can stay a generalist if you wanted and do specific little modules here, there, to enable you to be a good general all-round generalist nurse. And from a military perspective, then that's really important, because you need, you know, rather than having 5 people to do 5 different jobs, you might be able to have 2 people to do 5 jobs because of their ability to and flexibility within the nursing. So what else is there? Well, we always do lots of continued professional development. There's lots of scope for further courses and training that we need as military personnel. So we have the Battles, which is the Battlefield Advanced Trauma Life Support, which sits exactly along the same thread as the ATLS, except it's pre-hospital based. And as you can see from some of the pictures, that we do a lot of CPD when we are away. Yes, we do courses in the UK, but actually we need to be able to apply the work that we do to the environment that we're working in. So as you can see, we do lots of training serials and sim serials within the airframes that we're going to be working on. Also, in the kind of the little tented medical facilities as well that we might work with, and also outdoors, as you can see there in the bottom picture, outdoors in a hot sandy land, using a training mannequin and some training kit that we deployed with, all to make sure that we are fit to fight and also fit to nurse. Not only CPD kind of deployed and on operations, we do lots at home and on the firm base as well. So things like ALS, there's lots of us who are ALS instructors, and that is heavily supported by the military. We're always supported to go on and further develop ourselves, which will only then help to develop the opportunities and skill set of the people that we work alongside, and the patients that we care for. For those of you who might have heard of the Alert course, born in Portsmouth back in the 90s, we've now got a military training faculty down in Portsmouth, so we've started delivering our own Alert courses as well with their approval. And also, as you can see there in the bottom corner, I do some ambulance work, so training serials with the South Central Ambulance Service and the training that they offer us also. There's lots of opportunities there. I've talked a lot about what we do at home, but actually the main crux of the military is our operational role. What do we get up to when we go away? Well, for the RAF, you might think it's just flying, and primarily it is. So as you can see, we've got opportunities to work on board rotary aircraft, so the helicopters, doing forward aeromed and what was formerly known as MERT, working either as a lone practitioner on a helicopter, as a nurse or a paramedic or a medic, or MERT, which was a 4-man team. So those of you may remember in the Afghanistan days, the MERT would pop out on their Chinook and collect casualties and bring them back. So there's that element, which is your emergency nursing. You've got CCAS, which is a critical care air support team, which is in this bottom photo, and that is a team of, I think it's 5 personnel who go out and collect critically ill patients from areas, be that operational or even in the peacetime. They might go over to, say, Cyprus to collect any service personnel or dependents that require their services, and they will transfer the critical patients who primarily will be asleep and requiring a lot of nursing input. So that's a really exciting role if critical care interests you. And then, of course, there's your generic aeromedical evacuation. And as I mentioned earlier, I started out of my RAF career doing 4 months to and fro from Afghanistan, pretty much 24 hours in flight and ground movements per flight, and that was transferring patients on a C-17, as you can see there, but also on the Hercules aircraft with stretchers. And aeromedical evacuation can be done on any kind of fixed wing platform. Part of my Aeromed training course, I actually flew to Canada, and first class, of course, and brought back some serving personnel from exercise in Canada, which was really nice. But aeromedical evacuation is so broad. It's a really exciting role if that's something that interests you. As I mentioned, there's primary care, so there's operations, there's ops that require primary care, so ensuring that personnel have got their day-to-day GP needs addressed. And excitingly, at the moment, they're just validating it, but the hospital staging unit, which is a ground asset, which is manned by RAF nurses and medics and doctors, which allows personnel to be nursed at the airfield prior to flying out of the country in which that you're living in. So that's something that's really exciting and happening at the moment, the hospital staging unit with the ground base. Sorry, I've just distracted then. And then, of course, in the middle, you can see the air transportable isolator. That was used many years ago for the Ebola crisis on the news, seeing the nurse brought back into Scotland. So that's something that the RAF manage. And if you're an Aeromed nurse and you've done the ATI course, then that could be something for you if you're interested in IPC and kind of the bugs and weird and wonderful things. And then, of course, there's ground FEC. So as you can see there in the little top corner, I was in Spain a couple of years ago, doing parachute cover. So it's not all operations and deployments. There's lots of training exercises that go on around the world that require medical cover. So I popped off to Spain, which was lovely, for a couple of weeks, me and my Bergen. I had a medic with me as well, and we just watched the parachutists do their stuff. It was pretty cool. And there's opportunities for all sorts of exercise and things all around the world. So America is a place that the military like to do parachute exercises for the weather, of course. So there's lots of things going on around the world that require you as a paramedic to help. But it's not all about work. So in the military, we like to work hard and play hard. There's lots of opportunities for sport. You may photo that my sport is more four-legged rather than my own 2 legs. It is equally hard, by the way, just for the record, for those who haven't ridden before. But there's plenty of opportunities for sports, be it athletics or motorsports, winter sports, lots of things that you can get into. Parades and public events also. That's me at the Royal Albert Hall, which was one of the highlights of my career, and it did make me cry like a baby because I was so proud to be there. Walking, again, that's a photo of me in Spain, and opportunities that don't come around that easily. So as a result of being in the military, I've been offered the chance to provide medical assistance at the Royal Windsor Horse Show, and I get to meet Ant and Dec, so you know, who's going to argue with that? But there's loads of opportunities out there for you as a clinician, if you want to join up. It's not all. Everyone always says, "Oh, what's the food like when you go away?" It plays a big part in my life, so I wanted to share some of the food from deployment. It's varied, but they like to make a special deal where they can, and we celebrated the Battle of Britain in Oman a couple of years ago, and the food was amazing, considering we were in the middle of the desert. So what can you do in the RAF? Well, I've alluded to many throughout my chat. You can be a student nurse if you have your basic level qualifications, then you can apply to become a student nurse. You can be a medic and then go on to become a paramedic. You can do mental health nursing, biomedical scientists. If you are currently a nurse or just about to finish your nursing degree, then we are currently recruiting. So please get in touch. All through my slides, you may have noticed that the recruitment website link is on the bottom. So please click that link or apply through, copy that onto your web browser and see what's available to you, what you want to do. How can you join? There, exactly as I alluded to before, is exactly the same link that is on the bottom line of my slideshow. Who can join? Well, you can join from the age of 17, and as long as you've applied before your 48th birthday, then you should be good to go. Educationally, it depends on what you want to do, what role that you want to undertake, but please check out the website. It's got all the information. It's really intuitive and easy to navigate your way through. And obviously there's lots of other reasons why you should, or why I like being in the military. You get health benefits, dental benefits, 38 days annual leave a year plus weekends, accommodation, and for those of you who are interested, then the starting salary is from £15,985 a year, and it's only going to get better from there. So, and with the pension as well. But for those of you that feel that you may not wish to join full-time, the RAF also have the RAF Medical Reserve Squadrons, and these are located in these 4 places. So we've got Northern Ireland, Northolt, which is London, RAF Lucas, and RAF Brize Norton. And again, I've got a recruitment video, but we're running a little bit out of time, but I can also put the links on, but you can find them quite easily on YouTube. But as a reserve, you can be a medic, you can be a paramedic, you can be a nurse, and all the same opportunities are available to you. As a reservist, with regards to pension and annual leave, it's slightly different, but certainly if you don't feel that you can be away from home and do the job full time because of your commitments, and then that's absolutely fine. But if you want that little bit of adventure in your spare time, then please consider squadrons. Most definitely, you get the best of both worlds. So I think you've probably heard quite a lot from me. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for listening. Also, thank you for giving up your kind of weekend to listen to me rattle on about my life and what you can do. But I hope that I've inspired 1 or 2 of you to think about joining the RAF or the reserves, and enjoy the adventures that I have. So thank you very much. I'll try and put the links into onto here. Can I do that from here, do you think, Makana?
Sorry, my Wi-Fi went very odd at that moment. No, thank you so much for that talk. It was so interesting. I learned so much. I was looking at about the RAF while you were talking as well, and I was like, hang on a second, I'm going to consider this as well. There's actually a question in the comments, and I just need to ask, you just have 1 minute, but it's from Tom. He's asking if you join as a user, can this open up opportunity to join full-time if you wish, like as a student paramedic?
So potentially, yes. Currently, the RAF don't recruit paramedics as paramedics. You have to join as a medic, and then currently the RAF will train you to be a paramedic. This is all fairly new, and I know a good friend of mine, Sarah. She is the paramedic, or she was a paramedic training support officer. So she's working on a piece of work to look at recruiting paramedics in the future at the moment. So if you were to join as a medic, and with regards to being an actual paramedic as well, again, I think that's something that you should probably speak to my friend about. But if you want to PM or DM me, Tom, I'm quite happy to see if Sarah's happy to take information, so you can contact her directly.
Thank you, that's super kind of you. Would you mind putting the information in the chat or your email address? Like, how can people get in touch?
So if people want to get in touch with me, then feel free to follow me on Twitter, which is NurseSteph600, or I shall put my email address in the chat. There's my email address. I am on leave at the moment. I'm currently at a holiday home in Wales and sent the kids off packing. So I will be offline for the next week. But if you want to email, then please feel free. I will email you back once I've finished a bit of family time.
Yeah, that sounds lovely. And I'll link in your Twitter stuff for you during the talk. So everyone make sure to follow Stephanie on Twitter. She does really cool things. And we've just reached the end of the talk. Thank you so much for giving up your time to speak to everyone today. It was a really interesting talk.
That's great. Thank you ever so much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.